Today's video is a rant video, so expect random footage in the background and basically very little organization. I know something like this has been said before, but while I was working today, I remembered that the Yorick rework is coming soon, and I actually am super hyped to play it, especially as a jungler. However, I had already previously thought about this, but had more time to dwell upon it during the slow phases of work. Yorick is likely going to end up as Poppy and a lot of recent reworks. It is both a good and a bad thing, but they will ultimately end up being the champions in a totally shitty state. As we all know, there are some champions right now with very obsolete and janky kits that need an overhaul. Poppy, Sion, Gangplank, and the others have been the targets of these reimaginings in order to give Riot more to work with in terms of balance. Their older versions were just too hard to work with and basically impossible to balance. Even if their reworks don't turn out how they want them to initially, they will at least have an easier time with any future changes they may want to make to that champion. With that in mind, basically the good thing about these reworks is that it opens up future possibilities for the champions. Now, where it gets super fucked up is when Riot attempts to either preserve something of the old champions, aka Sion's health scaling or Gangplank's bonus gold, and thus keep some of the toxicity of their old kits, basically not really solving the problem they intended to fix. It also gets super fucked up when Riot uses them as a chance to experiment or just makes kits that are just as janky as before. Poppy is one of the best ones to bring up for this. I despise the Poppy rework with a burning passion. It definitely made her less insane than she was before, but now she's basically a symbol for the death of the specialized champions. It has always been an issue with League of Legends that specialized champions are absolute trash in metas that don't support them, and honestly that's not unreasonable. They're only really strong in the metas that do support them, but can easily be ousted of usability in these metas that favor them if a generalist champion can nearly equal them in what they specialize. Riot made Poppy basically into a strict bodyguard. Her initiation is awful, her laning is just alright after it was nerfed, and her damage is respectable. She has some anti-dash mechanic, but unless your opponent is an idiot, they won't really fall for that. She's a great bodyguard, but bad in a lot of other things tanks want to do, therefore why even pick her when other tanks can do things she can't, and could even bodyguard at a slightly worse level, or even an equal level, and sadly some are just outright better bodyguards too. She's not really in a horrible state, she's not unplayable. The thing is, she's just pointless. Now Yorick looks like he's ready to be a repeat of Poppy. Yorick is being touted as a powerful pushing champion, and his kit really emphasizes that over everything else, as his teamfighting seems pretty poor. He's going to be a champion that overwhelms lanes and just tries to non-stop shove. If the meta supports a playstyle like that, then Yorick could thrive and then become a powerful champion. Riot seems to definitely be encouraging that with a turret First Blood, ZZ Rod Portal, and all that good stuff. Even if the meta isn't a push meta, perhaps Yorick could even force the shift if he's strong enough. However, if he simply isn't good enough and solo push isn't a big deal, then there's basically not going to be a reason to ever pick him, and thus he'll be as pointless as ever. Technically put, his pre-rework self kind of did that already, but that's why he was giga nerfed in the first place. Yorick being emphasized as a pusher is basically just a repeat of the specialist issue we've been having. He'll be good in the metas he's intended for, but may not be better than some other champions and does fall out of grace. He could also be way too strong and then just be super nerfed like most of the reworks have, and thus that could be the end of him. Basically, he's doomed to either be completely weak and pointless, to then being overbuffed, or being really strong initially and then thus being nerfed a lot. I kind of am really confused as to why Riot went with this route though. Pure pushing champions have proven to be extremely toxic to the game and incredibly unfun to the player base that Riot has made tons of changes just to curve stomp those types of champions. They do not oppose push strategies, but those done by a single overbearing champion has always been super risky and super unfun. Needless to say, I am wondering if Riot is truly wanting a push meta to evolve or just sort of throwing Yorick out there simply to make sure he's not as obnoxious with his old kit. Even so, I am truly excited for Yorick, but I don't kid myself on his balanced state. I have no doubt he's going to be part of the next whirlwind buff nerf cycle as all other rework champions have had. Either way, this is just my opinion that I formed out of the patterns that we've seen with all the rework champions we've had before, and honestly the latest release of champions that we've had too. So give me your opinion in the comments below and like the video if you enjoyed the discussion. Anyways, thank you for listening.